Hello students, in this video we will discuss about corticosteroids. So, as we know that corticosteroids are secreted from the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland has cortex and medulla, and cortex is divided into three matters like three zones. First is zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. So the mineralocorticoid, that is aldosterone, is secreted from the zona glomerulosa, and glucocorticoid is secreted from zona fasciculata, and from zona reticularis androgens is secreted. So, if there is hypersecretion of mineralocorticoid, then it will lead to the Cone syndrome. And if there is hypersecretion of glucocorticoid, that is hydrocortisone for example, then they will lead to the Cushing syndrome. And as in androgen we discussed, if there is hypersecretion of androgen, they lead to the precocious puberty, and their deficiency cause the Addison disease. So first we will talk about the regulation and synthesis of corticosteroids. Uh, the secretion and release of glucocorticoid is controlled by the pituitary ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, which in turn is stimulated by the cortico releasing factor, which is produced by hypothalamus. So from hypothalamus, corticotropin releasing factor is released, which act on the anterior pituitary, and from anterior pituitary ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, is released, which acts on the adrenal cortex, and from the adrenal cortex zones glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid is released. The mineralocorticoid secretion is also controlled by the renin-angiotensin system, which we will discuss in the cardiovascular system. These corticosteroids have negative feedback on both hypothalamus and anterior pituitary. So when there is hypersecretion, they will lead to their negative feedback mechanism, and the secretion will be decreased. So how these corticosteroids act? Mechanism of action of corticosteroid is that they are steroid hormones. These hormones will enter into the cell, where they will bind to the specific receptor in cytoplasm, and there will be formation of a steroid receptor complex. This steroid receptor complex will enter in the nucleus, and where it bind to the specific DNA, and there it regulate the protein synthesis. So as we discussed in androgen, progesterone, they all are steroid, and they all act through the same mechanism. Means first they enter into the cytoplasm, then they form a complex, and then enter the nucleus and bind to the specific DNA and regulate the protein synthesis. As we discussed that the mineralocorticoid secretion is controlled by RAS, and there is a diurnal variation in the rate of release of ACTH and cortisol. Diurnal variation means their release and synthesis will depend upon the morning and evening hours. The plasma cortisol levels are highest in the early hours of morning and lowest in the late evening. During stress, glucocorticoid secretion is also increased. So, we will discuss first the pharmacological action of corticosteroids. So, first we will discuss on the metabolic effects. In metabolic effect on carbohydrate, corticosteroid will stimulate the glycogen deposition in the liver and gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis means neo means new, genesis means form. So they will form the glucose. Next, they will decrease the peripheral utilization of glucose, means the glucose utilization will be decreased. So what will happen means the glucose level in the body will be increased, so they cause hyperglycemia, and also they decrease the tissue sensitivity to insulin. So the corticosteroids are relatively contraindicated in the diabetic patients. Next, on the lipid, prolonged use of glucocorticoid cause the redistribution of fat that is deposited over the neck, face, shoulder, which result in the moon face, fish mouth, and buffalo hem with thin limbs. They also promote the lipolysis. Lipolysis means they promote the breakdown of fat. Next effect on protein, glucocorticoid has a catabolic nature, so they will increase the breakdown of protein and mobilization of amino acids. So it will lead to the muscle wasting, lympholysis, thinning of skin, loss of bone matrix, that is they lead to the osteoporosis and growth retardation. They also delay the wound healing and fibrosis is also inhibited. Next action on the calcium, that they have anti-vitamin D action, means uh, corticosteroid inhibit the calcium absorption from the gut, so there will be less calcium present in the plasma. Next, they increase the renal excretion of calcium. They have negative effect on osteoblasts. Blasts are bone forming cells, so there will be decreased bone formation, bone matrix formation, and they promote the formation of osteoclast, that is bone resorption cell. So they have anti-vitamin D action. So they inhibit calcium absorption from the gut and decrease blood calcium level and increase renal excretion of calcium, so they can also lead to the formation of renal stone. Next pharmacologic action is on water excretion and electrolyte. Glucocorticoids cause the sodium and water retention. They promote the potassium excretion. The prolonged use of these drugs may lead to the edema as they are retaining the water, and also causes hypertension because they retaining the sodium ions. Some glucocorticoids have mineralocorticoid activities also. Next effect is on cardiovascular system. Glucocorticoid, as we discussed that glucocorticoid have sodium and water retaining property, so they exert a permissive effect on pressure action of adrenaline and angiotensin. As they are retaining the sodium, so they will cause hypertension, and adrenaline is also has a vasopressor action, it also causes hypertension, so they have a permissive effect on adrenaline and angiotensin. Angiotensin is also responsible for increase in blood pressure. So on chronic administration, these drugs may cause hypertension and worsening of the congestive cardiac failure. Next effect is on skeletal muscle. As we discussed in protein metabolism, they have a catabolic nature, so they causes the muscle wasting and fatigue, and which weakness and fatigue, because they have catabolic in nature, they causes the protein breakdown. In hypocorticism, muscle wasting occur due to the inadequate circulation, and in hypercorticism, muscle wasting and fatigue occur due to hypokalemia. Means in both the cases, if the glucocorticoid is increased or decreased, in both cases muscle wasting will be there, but due to different reason. If there is decreased corticosteroid, then it is due to the inadequate circulation, muscle weakness and fatigue will occur. And if there is higher secretion, hypersecretion, then there will be due to the excess mineralocorticoid, they lead to the hypokalemia because they promote the potassium excretion, which lead to the muscle weakness. Next effect is on GIT system. In GIT, they inhibit the prostaglandins secretion, which will lead to the increased gastric acid and pepsin secretion, which may aggravate the peptic ulcer. They also decrease the local immune response against the H. pylori, and H. pylori is a responsible factor for causing peptic ulcers. Next effect on blood and lymphoid tissue. Glucocorticoid therapy leads to a decrease in the number of circulating eosinophils, lymphocytes, basophils and monocytes. Why this is occurring? Because there is redistribution of cell. They have a marked lympholytic action. Therefore, these are also used in the lymphomas and leukemias, because in lymphomas and leukemia there is excessive formation of the leukocytes. So they and lymphoma and lymphocytes. So they have lympholytic action. Therefore, they are used in the treatment of lymphomas and leukemia. Next action is anti-inflammatory action. Glucocorticoids inhibit the phospholipase A2 by secreting a protein lipoprotein. As we know that from membrane phospholipid, membrane phospholipids, here phospholipase A2 will act on arachidonic acid, which have two pathways like cyclooxygenase pathway and lipooxygenase pathway. From cyclooxygenase pathway, prostaglandin is secreted, and from lipooxygenase pathways, leukotriene is secreted. So glucocorticoids induce a protein called lipocortin. This lipocortin will inhibit this phospholipase A2. So there will be no cyclooxygenase pathway and lipooxygenase pathway. So no prostaglandin is formed and no leukotriene is formed. As we know that prostaglandin are inflammatory mediated and leukotrienes are also inflammatory mediators. So there will be decreased prostaglandin and leukotriene formation, and they have an anti-inflammatory action. They also suppresses the chemotaxis. Next, they prevent the release of inflammatory mediators. Glucocorticoid also stabilizes the lysosomal membrane and prevent release of these inflammatory mediators. They also inhibit the expression of various adhesion molecules on endothelial cell, thus inhibit leukocyte migration to the site of injury, that is, they suppresses the chemotaxis. Next effect is on immunosuppression. As we know that immune response occur via T lymphocyte and B lymphocytes. T lymphocyte will act on lymphokines and they cause the cell mediated immunity, and B lymphocyte will act on the immunoglobulins and they have humoral immunity. So corticosteroid act on B cell and T cell and they inhibit the B cell and T cell function. So they act as an immunosuppressant. Next, on the effect of fetal lungs. In fetal lung, glucocorticoids stimulate the production of the pulmonary surfactants. So pulmonary surfactant will be released and they will cause the maturation of the fetal lung, and they also help in the structural and functional maturation of the fetal lung. So these were the pharmacological action of glucocorticoids on different systems. So next is the classification of corticosteroids. Corticosteroids are, as we have glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. Now the glucocorticoids are divided into like short acting, that they have T half less than 12 hours, then intermediate acting which have T half from 12 to 36 hours, and long acting having T half more than 36 hours. So in short acting glucocorticoids, the drugs are hydrocortisone and cortisone. Hydrocortisone is also known as cortisol. It has a rapid onset but short duration of action, and it is the drug of choice for the replacement therapy in cases of acute adrenal insufficiency, because it has, as it is having short duration of action, so it is used in the replacement therapy of acute adrenal insufficiency. Other uses of hydrocortisone are, they are used in the treatment of status systematicus and anaphylactic shock, means they are used in the emergency cases. Hydrocortisone can be given via oral, intramuscular, IV, intraarticular and topical route. Next is intermediate acting have prednisolone, methylprednisolone and triamcinolone. So prednisolone is most commonly used preparation for the allergic, inflammatory, autoimmune disorder and in malignancies. It causes the less hypothalamic pituitary axis suppression if given once daily in the morning. It is also given by oral, IM, intraarticular and topical route. Next is methylprednisolone. It is also used for the treatment for inflammation and also as an immunosuppressant. Next we talk about long acting drug. They have dexamethasone and betamethasone. Long acting, they have highly potent anti-inflammatory and immunosuppressant effect, and they have no mineralocorticoid activity. They causes severe hypothalamic pituitary axis suppression. They are given by oral, IV, IM and topical route. And mineralocorticoid includes deoxycorticosterone, fludrocortisone and aldosterone, and they all have selective mineralocorticoid activity and used in the treatment of Addison disease as a replacement therapy, and aldosterone is not used clinically. Next is the uses of glucocorticoid. Glucocorticoid uses can be easily divided into like endocrine use and non-endocrine use for remembering their uses. So endocrine use means they are used as a replacement therapy, and in non-endocrine use there are various uses. So first we will discuss about as a replacement therapy. Glucocorticoid used are in the treatment of acute adrenal insufficiency. As it is an emergency, so short The glucocorticoid which has short duration of action is used, that is mainly hydrocortisone. In this 100 milligram hydrocortisone IV is given, or we can use dexamethasone 8 to 16 milligram IV. The precipitating factor for acute adrenal insufficiency can be trauma, infection and hemorrhage. Next use of glucocorticoid is chronic adrenal insufficiency. In this, there will be hydrocortisone will be given orally. The daily doses will be divided into two parts, like 2/3 dose will be given in morning and 1/3 dose will be given in the evening, plus we can give salt and water. In addition, if sodium is required, then fludrocortisone is added in this therapy. So next uses in the treatment of congenital adrenal hyperplasia, also known as adrenogenital syndrome. It is a familial disorder. In this, there is deficiency of 21 hydroxylase enzyme. So there will be decreased synthesis of the hydrocortisone and aldosterone. So corticosteroids are helpful in this case, and the beneficial, and there is compensatory increase of ACTH in these cases. So what will happen is there is beneficial effect due to this increased ACTH, because it will cause the negative feedback mechanism on HPA, and this will lead to the decreased adrenal androgen, so helpful in the treatment of adrenogenital syndrome. Next uses are non-endocrine uses. They are like divided into 5 parts, like anti-inflammatory use, then anti-allergic use, immunosuppressant as an immunosuppressive, then in diagnostic, and in the hypercalcemia of malignancy disease. As anti-inflammatory, they are used in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, then osteoarthritis, rheumatic fever, gout, collagen diseases, nephrotic disease, in treatment of ulcerative colitis and cerebral edema. But in treatment of osteoarthritis, glucocorticoid are rarely used. Mainly the intra-articular injection is recommended for acute episodes. Next, as an anti-allergic, they are used in the treatment of allergies like hay fever, urticaria, anaphylaxis, and treatment of bronchial asthma, because they inhibit the release of the inflammatory mediators like leukotrienes and prostaglandin. They are also used in the treatment of skin diseases like exfoliative dermatitis, psoriasis, and keloids. And they also used in the treatment of anaphylactic shock due to the release of histamine and due to increased hypersensitivity reaction. As we discussed in the pharmacological action of corticosteroid, that they are immunosuppressant. They suppress the both humoral immunity and cell mediated immunity. So they are used in the during organ transplant, in autoimmune hemolytic anemia, in the treatment of leukemia and lymphoma, because they have a lympholytic action, and treatment of multiple myeloma. Next, they are used in the as a diagnostic factor. They are used to test the hypothalamic pituitary axis function, also known as dexamethasone suppression test. Next, they are also used in the treatment of hypercalcemia of malignant diseases. Why? Because we know that they inhibit the absorption of calcium from gut, and also increase the renal excretion of calcium. So if there in malignant diseases there is hypercalcemia, so glucocorticoids can be prescribed. Next, we will discuss the adverse effect of glucocorticoids. Again, the side effects of corticosteroids are also remembered in a simple way. Like we discussed in pharmacological action, they have metabolic effect. So we discussed that they decrease the insulin sensitivity, and they increase the gluconeogenesis, so they causes the hyperglycemia. In fat, there is redistribution of fat, and there is lipolysis, so they cause the Cushing habitus. Like they their characteristic feature are like moon face, buffalo hump, thin limbs, and next they causes the muscle wasting, because glucocorticoid has catabolic action. Next, in anti-inflammatory action, we discussed they precipitate the peptic ulcer. So peptic ulcer is also a side effect of glucocorticoid. Then they causes the sodium and water retention, which lead to the edema and hypertension, and can precipitate the congestive cardiac failure. Next, they decrease the absorption of calcium from the gut, so they cause osteoporosis, and if there is osteoporosis, then there will be they lead to the easily fractured bone. Next, they have immunosuppression, so they suppress our immune response. They can lead to the opportunistic infection, and they also delay the wound healing. Next, they suppresses the hypothalamic pituitary axis. So if this axis suppressed, we have discussed a lot of effects if there is a suppression of this HPA. Next, we will talk about the mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids are like deoxycorticosterone and fludrocortisone, cortisone, and aldosterone. Aldosterone is not used clinically. So, mineralocorticoid, what they will do, they promote the sodium and water retention by in distal tubule, and they lead to the loss of calcium. So, mineralocorticoids are used in the replacement therapy in aldosterone deficiency, for in treatment of Addison disease, and they lead to the weight gain, edema, hypertension, and hypokalemia. So there are some drugs which lead to the inhibition of this steroid synthesis. So first drug is like aminoglutathione. This will lead to the inhibition of conversion of cholesterol to the pregnenolone. Means mainly the corticosteroids are formed from the cholesterol. There is a different pathway which you have studied in like in physiology, in biochemistry, bchem and physiology also. So they will inhibit the formation of pregnenolone. This will again, there will be some steps from where the glucocorticoid is secreted. So aminoglutathione inhibit the steroid synthesis immediately. Next is metyrocone. This inhibit the alpha beta hydroxylase. This is also an enzyme which will act on pregnenolone, and there will be formation of this is a step in the formation of glucocorticoids. So they will prevent the synthesis of hydrocorticosterone. Next is mitotone. They produces the atrophy of the zona fasciculata and reticularis. So there will be no formation and release of the glucocorticoids. Next, special glucocorticoid antagonist is mifepristone. As we discussed in progesterone, that mifepristone is a progesterone receptor antagonist. It also blocks the glucocorticoid receptor. So these are used as a glucocorticoid antagonist. So in this video we discussed about the glucocorticoid, their uses, their pharmacological action and adverse effects. So if you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.